Edgar Berlanga had at least a decent account for himself last night against
Yeah.
Canelo Alvarez, right? And so, with that being said, I think there's going to be some fans that want to see Edgar back in the ring. He had the opportunity to showcase himself on the biggest platform, and that platform is always going to be a Canelo Alvarez fight. Unlike some folks that we know that had the opportunity to do so during the fight, but chose to be somewhere else, whether that was after the fight ended or whatever the case may be. I don't know why people get stuck on those types of things when in reality you're talking about something very specific, but he has had the opportunity to showcase himself on the biggest platform, which is a Canelo Alvarez fight. With that being said, there's an individual out there that he had, I don't know, a personal disagreement with, if you will, in Caleb Plant. Caleb had an interesting fight against, I don't even know what that, McCrumbie?
Trevor McCumbee.
McCumbee, yeah. I had never seen Trevor McCumbee. You know who Trevor looks like? He looks like the guy for GTA 5. Trevor off of GTA 5. That's exactly who he looks like. Look like the same dude. Definitely.
You know who he also looked like?
Who that?
Rick Rude. Rick Rude. I've seen Rick Rude from back in the day. WWF.
Yeah. So
He had a little bit.
So Caleb looked, at the end of the day, to some extent, I feel that Caleb looked acceptable at the beginning of the fight, which would make for an interesting fight. I mean, Berlanga's big. Now, Canelo did say he hits like his son, so maybe he doesn't have the level of power that would hurt or give Caleb Plant any real troubles. But I would love to see that fight. I think that would be an interesting fight. Number one, I think the fight will be interesting just because of the little history that they currently have. But not only that, when you start to think about the stylistic matchup, when you start to think about the lead up to the fight and how these two gentlemen would interact, I believe that would be a very entertaining fight that people will be interested in seeing. Jay, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, now that dude Trevor McCumbee, he was cracking. He hurt Caleb in that fight. Caleb said it was a flash knot. It was just he got pushed on one of them, but another time Caleb got up and he had them Bambi legs, man. I was like, oh damn it, Caleb, don't lose to this guy like this, man. Not like this. But Caleb bit down and he realized dude couldn't fight in the pocket. All he did was smother him. And that's all. Uppercuts going to the body and then come up top and just wore him down. But Berlanga and Caleb, that'd be a fight. That'd be an interesting fight just because they've had words in the past. That fight would definitely be about ring IQ for Caleb. Because Caleb, I still think Berlanga has more power than Caleb, more likely in that. And we saw how Caleb dealt with power with McCumbee, so he'll have to be smart in that fight as well. I don't know if Edgar will fight him the same way in the sense where as far as much respect, which would be a mistake. I think if he doesn't respect Caleb, I think that'd be a vital flaw for him in that fight with Caleb and Berlanga. But I mean, that's a good fight to make. I know Caleb doesn't really turn out any fights, So I think if it's presented to him, he'll fight him, Although Berlanga's with Matchroom, so I don't know if they'll have to do. I don't know what undercard they'll be under because I definitely wouldn't be a main event on that.
Right.
But it'll be worthwhile. I just don't know if Caleb will fight him because he's coming off a loss. Caleb's still trying to elevate himself, trying to get to the next level, trying to get another title shot from what he's said in the past. So I don't know how that helps him get a title shot. Although Berlanga had a respectable, I guess you could say, showing against Canelo.
I think I understand that he's trying to get back to a title shot, but there's a path to get back to a title shot, right? He had the opportunity against Canelo Alvarez. He was the champion when he fought Canelo Alvarez. He had an opportunity to get back there against Benavidez. He was unsuccessful in both attempts. So now he has to really work himself back to that point. Edgar Berlanga, who was ranked #1 by which sanctioning body? Was it the WBA? I can't remember. But regardless, I think Berlanga was ranked #1 by the WBA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he took over David Morrell.
Yeah, fighting an individual who was ranked highly by one of the sanctioning bodies, and you are also ranked high by the sanctioning body. We know that different promotional entities or television series, if you will, they have connections and specific promoters have connections with specific entities, if you will, like the WBC, the WBA, so forth and so on. So if that's the case, then I'm quite sure they could work something out in order for that fight to be made. Personally, I think that's a really, really good fight for Caleb Plant. And I just think overall it's an exciting fight. Can it be the main event? Absolutely can be the main event. Will it be a main event on a pay-per-view card? No. It
No.
needs to be it needs to be something that's just part of a televised card, like one of those PBC cards that are going to come up on Amazon that are, free content, or non-pay-per-view events. It could be something like that, but it can't be the main event on a pay-per-view card. Now, it could be the co-main on a pay-per-view card. So we'll see. I think it's an interesting position for both Caleb Plant and Berlanga. I think they should both look towards that kind of fight before one of them loses, because quite frankly, I think, either one of them could possibly lose. So before that happens, I would try to make that fight, because that's probably one of the better fights that can be made at 168 pounds. You got any other thoughts on that, Jay?
Nah, I mean, it'll be make do. I mean, hell, if we don't get a Berlanga Caleb Plant fight, hell, let both of the people that both lost in that fight each other, McCombie and Berlanga, because it'll be a slugfest now. That'd be worthwhile. That'd be money to see.
Yeah, that's an interesting proposition as well. I would like to see that as well. But definitely that wouldn't be a co-main event as far as I'm concerned, not in my opinion. So yeah, so let's